like, yeah, I mean, now the look was full of stuff, but I was like, that's a good way to get it right.
I think that was the hardest part.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's been a long time. I hope everyone had a great holiday season. Was it cold enough earlier this week?
Yeah.
We got a great meeting today to kick off the new year. Club assembly. We're going to induct a new member. We got a lot of catching up to do. I know there's a huge pent-up demand for happy dollars out there. Buster's here, ready to go. He doesn't have on his Santa Claus suit today.
What do you mean?
Well, pardon. Dr. Walt Howell has our invocation, pledge, and Rotary money.
All that stuff. Please bow your heads. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to come here and assemble with our friends, and fellowship, and maybe the chance to do something good and make the world a little better place. Thank you for the friends that I've made in Rotary, and for letting us all be a part of this group that can do a whole lot more together than we can separately. Isn't it proud? Amen. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Things we think, say, and do.
Is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Good job. This time of year and the weather we've been having reminds me of one of the first years we rang the bell in the Harris Teeter over here. I know you're going to remember this because you were, I think, right before me. And windshield was about single digits. We were in a breezeway, and wind was honking through there, and I was wearing a coat and had these huge gloves. And the guy that was after, I can't remember, John, somebody was after me. He's not a Rotary anymore. He says, "I'll give you $100 for those gloves." I said, "No, and I gave them to him, and I saw him at the meeting. And I said, "Did you bring my gloves?" And he goes, "No, I gave them to so-and-so." And it turns out that like 6 people had used those gloves. All right. Did you? Still got me, right?
That was certainly fair to all concerned. Let's see. Howard Driggers, Sergeant at Arms. Oh, I'll shoot him. Take the better time.
We have 2 guests this morning, and no visiting Rotarian. Ross has a guest.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Lauren Reilly. She's the Executive Director of Red Dog Farms at Burmill Park.
And Darren has a guest.
This is my daughter, Grace. Stand up. She wanted to come check out this Rotary group. She's going to be, next August, she's going to be one of 2 students going on Rotary Exchange. She's going to France.
Okay. Thank you, Howard. Birthdays, anniversaries. Kevin. Kevin here. Well, who had a birthday in the last week? that they want to admit. Nobody had a birthday over Christmas?
My husband, Christmas Day. That counts?
How about an anniversary in the last 3 weeks?
Middle of December.
Middle of December. I remember your wedding. Happy anniversary.
Same year as yours.
Any others? Okay. Buster, happy dollars.
All right. I know we missed ho-ho dollars. That was right. We did.
My happy dollar is for my friend Rob Midget. He was at the Christmas party. Y'all remember that? Those that were there, I had the snowing Christmas tree, and I needed some more snow. I got a lifetime supply. But as the story goes, he brought in this bag that night.
No, you can stop.
And then he come in 5 minutes later and said, I need to take it back. He said, the cat could have done something. Don't eat the yellow snow.
So this is old news, but just so everybody knows, I guess 2 weeks before Christmas, daughter Emily's picture was in the life section and an article about what teachers like as gifts. So, they interviewed 5 teachers, and because Emily was obviously the best looking, they took her picture.
Everybody sees James's wife, right? Zen! $10, $20, oh my Lord. Oh yes, you probably got a lot of it.
Yeah, I don't have any more money because I just finished school. It's waiting for me for a while. I graduated on December 13th with a 4.0 grade point average. And I am gainfully employed in accounting. And so I started work at Davenport, Marvin, Joyce and Company, which is right yonder across from Proximity. I started on Monday. All right. Awesome.
I've actually got 2. Hopefully, this is the first of many on this topic, but some of y'all have been sitting near me over the past few months. Now I've got that deer in the headlights looking. My wife is pregnant with our first child. So that's one of them. Number 2, we just found out it is a boy. So, all right.
I got a double one here. My oldest son, y'all don't hear a lot about him, Glenn. He's taken the winding road to get out to Guilford College. He's now 27. He's on Dean's List. Again, he just found out all A's except for a B+ in some sort of super advanced chemistry, but he's studying chemistry, physics, and business in a triple major. So a B+ ain't so bad, son. Thank you very much. The rest of this, Enduring Gratitude, which is a charity that 5 guys started, 4 from High Point and me, on February the 1st, not the 2nd. We're having 72 wounded soldiers, male and female. We don't know everybody which, but all services, including the Coast Guard, out for a day in the field. We're going to shoot sporting clays. We're going to shoot the 5 stand. We're going to give them breakfast, give them lunch. We've got some dignitaries from politics, I would say, and then some folks from the Army and the Navy are going to come speak. We have an admiral and a 3-star retired general. A few colonels and whatnot, and a lot of very distinguished folks will be there. We need money, we need volunteers. It'll be a day in the field for you. We won't actually be doing any shooting this time. We don't have, it's not going to be capable. We just can't do it. But we would love to have anybody come join us that would, and I appreciate the help we've already gotten from the Rotary Club. Thank you very much.
When is that again?
February 2nd.
I'll just step this way. That way I don't have to do the whole turn up. All right, so I've got 2. Just an update. Everyone's always asking. So officially down over 30 pounds now, which is still good. And my goal over the holidays was just don't gain anything back. And so I did that and lost a couple more, which was good. Also, the second one, though, is Monday I had an opportunity to speak over at Crescent Club, which, by the way, is a great club next to ours, probably the best I've been to. But just if you happen to think about it or hear of other clubs, keep them in your prayers, because they've actually just this past month had 2 of their members lose their spouses and one of their members lose their father, all within 1 month. And so they're, I think, just going through a tough time. And so it was actually a very meaningful day to be there. But just as it comes to your mind, keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
What were you speaking on?
I actually spoke on becoming a pro at public speaking.
Okay.
So, it's a topic I was fairly familiar with.
Very good, very good. Well, first of all, let me start out by saying, if I offend anyone when I say, I apologize, okay? And if anything I say upsets you, please contact me directly and I'll humbly apologize. Having said that, Grandpappy.
The first meeting of the year.
Grandpappy was, he was talking about sort of the deplorable state of what kids know about today and their breadth of knowledge. And he said he was teaching a Sunday school class of little kids. And so he was talking to them. He said, so what do y'all know about the resurrection? And this little boy raised his hand. He said, call a doctor if you experience one lasting more than 4 hours. Email address.
Now we know why it's a disclaimer. Okay. That's hard to follow.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if they teach that in professional public speaking, but that is the best way to get everybody's attention. Say you're going to offend them.
So can't wait.
That's a good point.
Okay, today is a special day. We're going to induct a new member, so I will turn this portion over to Dennis Marcotte.
I like that Mr. stuff. Robbie, if you come up, please.
Good morning. Gate City Rotary Club was chartered in 1991 with just over 30 members at the time, and we have been proud since that time, from time to time, to induct new members. It's a special moment and a special day not only for the member themselves, but for us as a club and our great evolving history. And we want to start out from the get-go to remind folks of the inclusiveness of this club in particular and of the community spirit of Rotary in general, directing itself both inwardly and outwardly. And we're very pleased this morning to induct a new member, and we have some things to say about him specifically before we do the actual induction. So Dennis is going to tell you a little bit more about Ben.
I'm going to pass it right to Rob.
Oh, okay. Bobby's going to tell us a little bit more about Ben.
Ben's been a perpetual guest here, as you know, but Bennett and I grew up together about a mile west of Guilford College. Bennett and Tommy and I did. We all lived right around each other. We've been lifelong friends. Unbelievable. It was country back then. It was nothing but woods and fields and cow pastures and ponds. And we hunted, we fished, we camped, we did it all, did everything. His house and his dad, I mean, it was like Marlin Perkins. They had every animal known to man. When you went out in the woods with Bennett, you came back with whatever you found, whether it was a snake or a raccoon or a squirrel or whatever. And dinner. But it's been great, and it really gives me great pleasure to see him inducted into this club, having known him my whole life. We've raised our children together and so on, so it's been a lifelong venture. This will just be one more step of a great process. So, thank you. Welcome, Bennett Bracken.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Bobby. It is my pleasure this morning to welcome Bennett Bracken as the latest member of Gate City Rotary. As the sponsoring member has told us about Ben, on behalf now of the Board of Directors and our members, we sincerely welcome you here. Our welcome is not only in anticipation of the good fellowship we'll share with you here on Thursday mornings and during social outings. We welcome you as well for your strong arms and sturdy back, which will help us carry out our many service projects, which, in a small yet significant way, make our community, our country, and our world a better place for all of us to live. Now, for all here, Rotarian and non-Rotarian alike, let's be reminded of these important facts. First, Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and the election of good men and women to public office. Second, Rotary is not a charitable organization, yet its activities exemplify the charity and sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe that they have a responsibility to help others. Rotary is not a religious organization, but it is built on those eternal principles that have served as the moral compass for people throughout the ages, as well as the foundation for our great country. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people, pledged to upholding the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when business people unite under the banner of service. Therefore, at this time, I would like and request everyone to please stand for the delivery of the following charge. You, Ben, have been chosen for membership of the Rotary Club of Gate City. Your sponsor and fellow members believe you to be a leader in your special line of work, and that you embody the qualities of head and heart that fit you to interpret and impart the message of Rotary. You are the representative of your vocation to this club. At the same time, you now become the ambassador of Rotary. We rely on you to carry the principles and ideals of service to those with whom you work. Additionally, we expect you to help inspire us, your fellow Rotarians, to become better members as Rotarians. I now ask Bobby to present you with the distinguishing lapel pin of a Rotarian. It is our hope that you will wear it proudly for others to see. Also included here will be your official certificate of membership in Rotary, which Dennis will now present to you. I'm glad I never do that. In addition to the official certificate of membership, we have included a declaration of the four-way test to help you be reminded of what it means to be a Rotarian. And that's a special thing we've added in recent years as we begin each meeting to help remind all of us to do so. Now allow me at this time, Ben, to offer you the right hand of fellowship as we welcome you to Rotary. Fellow members and guests, I have the honor of presenting our newest member, Bennett Bracken, and I invite everyone to introduce yourselves accordingly to our new member at the earliest opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Ben. Club Assembly. Just want to give a kind of a little update on where we've been and where we're going and what's happening with the club. Of course, your board of directors meets every month. We had a meeting this past Monday morning at Chris's office, and just to kind of take a pulse of what's happening in the club. So I'm going to take a minute and go through some of those things, and then the committee chairs are going to give you an update on where they are and what they have going on. As you all know, we have the Gold Club. I organized over this for years, like in anticipation of being a president, and what I quickly learned was they modeled, I think they kind of built the Gold Club after our club. So attaining the Gold Club is kind of like doing what we've always done, and not to sound like we're going to become lazy or anything, but in all honesty, it's kind of a no-brainer. This is a copy of a quarterly report. Every quarter we have to give a report to the assistant district governor that I meet with on a monthly basis, just kind of to let them know what's going on. Of course, we added 4 new members back in October, and we now have 71 active members as of today, having inducted Ben Bracken. Dennis Marcotte has done a tremendous job with membership, and it just seems like it's growing itself. A couple of updates. Richard Needham, you may know, he switched membership and went to the Airport Club. And one other membership item, Bonnie Bastow is on the leave of absence. She has a 3-month assignment in New Orleans, and this past Monday we granted her a leave of absence. So those are a couple membership things, and it's great to see Zen back today from her leave of absence. We did participate in October in a new fundraising project, Pig Stock, and Chip and Emily and others literally brought home the bacon.
And the ribbons.
And the ribbons.
Get the ribbons.
And then in the month of November, we devoted a meeting to the foundation. And then we also added 1 new major donor in the club and 3 bequest society members. We had a great foundation banquet. Mike Conrad and his duties with foundation in the district, a lot of energy there and some great things ahead with donations and bequests. We had our annual fundraiser, Emily, at the Coliseum. It was tremendous. And then who all saw, we should have done a happy dollar, the article in the Greensboro News and Record. It was a great job by Tom Richardson, who submitted that photograph and that article and that write-up, and just basically let the community know what great things we're doing here in the club.
Your club archivist has a preserved copy of that article.
You do? Okay. Oh, yes, all right. Thank you, Robbie. December, of course, the annual Salvation Army ringing of the bells, and Walt's Rotary moment this morning, and you know, a lot of people, the Rotary moment, there's a lot of bell ringing in those Rotary moments. It's a really neat thing. Our annual Christmas party at Mike Conrad's house this year, those of you that came, it was fantastic. And then, of course, the Santa breakfast 3 weeks ago here in this room. I mean, those are some awesome annual social events. I am working with Matthew Johnson and the district conference in May, and I have a slide coming up here. We always help print the materials and the badges. And be on the lookout in your mailbox. There'll be a flyer and a sign-up sheet coming in a few weeks for the district conference in May in Asheville at the Grove Park Inn. And then you heard Darren make an announcement, and his daughter is going to be an outbound youth exchange. Tony Humeyer has had, and Sarah Doggett have done a lot of work to spearhead that. To my knowledge, that's the first time this club has actually sponsored an outbound youth exchange student. So that's some new ground for us. And Tony's done a tremendous amount of work in meetings, and he seems to be the youth exchange expert in the club, which is great to have. Some upcoming items that we still have left to do. There's a score sheet for this reporting process that I do. In the month of February, we're going to celebrate Women in Rotary. Emily has a speaker lined up, and we'll be sending out some announcements, and we'll encourage all of you to invite a guest for that meeting. The organ donor, there's going to be an email coming from me. I know you heard Cookie talk about it when she was here back in October, and I'm going to have an online sign-up way where we can actually kind of keep score and make sure that you haven't become an organ donor, or if you have, and we find out what the score is so we can report on that, and it'll be a real easy way for you to become an organ donor. Sarah is working, oh, I skipped one. Erica Parker has volunteered to do the annual Shadows Day coming up in March, which is a great event. High school students will spend a day with you at your office, your profession, if you're going to be a dentist or a lawyer or whatever in their profession. So that's a great annual event coming up. We're going to sponsor 2 students actually for the Rotary Youth Leadership Program at Guilford College, and Sarah is in the midst of that. Oftentimes some of our children go, or some of the page interactors are eligible to go to that. One item, and I'm looking for suggestions, and this is a Gold Club requirement, that we recognize a club member for his or her service to the community. That ought not be too hard to do out of this group, but it is something that we need to kind of single someone out that maybe has done something especially special. So if anybody has any nominations, I'm open to hear. This club assembly, which we're supposed to have 4 of these throughout the year. This is the 3rd one. But that's actually a requirement that we do. Earn a presidential citation, and the paperwork will be going in on that. And it's another recognition on a broader scale, but for this club, in many ways, it's kind of like doing what we've always done. For other clubs, I guess it may be a struggle, but fortunately here it's not. Our president-elect Emily and our nominee Dan will be attending PETS training. That's president-elect training in March, and that's a big session with lots of, they sort of pour information with a fire hose on you. But it's great training. I've been through it twice now. So those are some things that are coming up. One reminder of a policy that I didn't really know about, but Buster had said some time ago, it is the intent for a new member prospect that their first meeting is free. It's on the club. Subsequent meetings until they become a member need to be paid. And so $20 a meal, which basically is what we're paying the Henrys, so that's just a reminder. And I'll send out an email with that as well, what the policy is there. I mentioned the district conference, Grove Park Inn, part of the rotation, great place. I think Chip Person's son and President Obama had some nice interaction there.
Like father, like son, Bob.
Which one of those windows was it? President Obama going to be joining us? I don't think the president will be there this time.
It was the upper right.
But save the date, Grove Park Inn. So, I'll just go down the list here. I don't think Beth's not here today. Buster, do you have anything you want to share from the past presidents?
No.
You've shared enough. Chris, from a secretary standpoint, anything on attendance or recording or?
Yeah, just
make your life
briefly.
easier?
And by the way, if Chip had moved the president, that would have resulted in a total eclipse.
Yeah, just don't say anything about me being tall.
People live in glass houses. All right, so yeah, I mean, just real briefly, I think everybody is up to speed on the process of a makeup. If you aren't, and you know, I'm not going to give the whole club a tutorial today because I mean most of you know how to do it. But if you don't, there's a great tutorial on the website at this point. I also have one in email format that I can send to folks. Fundamentally, just get the information out there. I mean, obviously, we prefer you to put it on the database simply because that just that lessens the work for us on the admin side if you self-report it. I know some of you guys, you know, may have computer restrictions at work or just logistical issues, like Robbie's case. Sometimes just logistically he can't get on the database from being in a courthouse or whatever. Just send me an email and I can get the makeup log if you're in a real bad situation. But the important thing is get the information to me within 2 weeks of the missed meeting and get the makeup done within 2 weeks of the missed meeting. The other thing, you guys all hopefully got an email, and if you didn't, it'll be pretty telling in why we're doing this, but I sent out an email yesterday through the P-mail system through Rotary asking you guys to verify your data on the database. A couple reasons for that. Again, it helps lessen the work for us in terms of data collecting, and it's actually a Gold Club requirement, I believe, right? Or one of the things we're looking for, to have all the members verify their data. So if you did not get that email, just shoot me an email and I'll check on what email we have on our records. But yeah, you should have gotten that. Real simple to verify the data, and it's just a good time to go in and make sure everything's correct and that you're being contacted. Because we do use the Google Groups thing, but sometimes some good information gets passed through the Rotary website.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Yep.
And on attendance, guys, matter of fact, I was going to send this out. We led the district once again last month. We had 90%. That little 14-member Alamance club had like 84%, so we're still in the running on a district basis. So good job on attendance, and good job with Chris for hounding it. Danny Farley, you want to talk about service?
Sure. Just to review, last year, or the last 6 months, we went through
the Big Suite, we did Project Rebuild, of course, Big Stock, that's the new fun thing that I hope, maybe that'll be an annual. The bell ringing was fantastic. So for this year, the first 6 months, Camp Carefree's been our little pet project, and I hope you guys are interested in doing that again. I actually planning to meet with Ann Jones this coming Monday. If you guys are on board with that, we'll go back out there this spring. The other things, possibilities, I don't think we got a blood drive this past year. Anybody has a special interest in working with the Red Cross and wants to be a lead on that, that would be a good thing to do. Caesar Cone Elementary School, we did some reading last year. They, I'm sure, gratefully include us again. And then a possibility would be if you guys might be interested in helping Sanctuary House in some kind of project. I was going to meet with Jody Lorenzo Shively, the administrator there, to see if the Rotary Club could help out in some way. That's all I've got.
Just scrambling up still.
Don't forget that. Thank you.
The street, how about street?
Let's get that on there.
Not too long ago, but
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to slight on that.
Pete says business is picking up.
I don't mind following that. Hey, listen, we've got 71 official members. That's great. Our club is healthy. We've got nice diversity and everything that's coming together. One thing I would remind you, perhaps to make the process a little bit easier as far as classifications, if you have someone in mind that you'd like to come bring to a meeting, call me and let's discuss the classification issue before you even bring them. So if there's any issues that we got to address, we can address it before they come, rather than after they come, and then that way there won't be any disappointments. But the classifications, we're in pretty good shape, and we can create more diversity by if we can think of some other industries or companies we can get in here, company representatives. I think it would help the club in general. But my job's been made easy because you guys are really bringing in good candidates. Fortunately, I think from my perspective, we've been able to bring in a number of former Rotarians. I think that's just been a big plus for our club this year. So the expectations of what we do and what their expectation is already on the table. So that's been, I think, a very pleasant surprise. And I as committee chair, I've been very fortunate because of that. So good job so far, guys and gals.
Thank you, Dennis. Ross, treasurer.
Good morning and Happy New Year, everybody. On the treasurer side, a lot of what's gone on in the last year or two is kind of behind the scenes, and unless you're on the board, you're probably not aware of it, but we've standardized and formalized a lot of the processes that the treasurer has done, which should pay dividends going forward. The fundraising allotment is something that has kind of been up and down over the years, depending on the performance of the fundraiser. That drives how much money we have to donate. But the model that we use now is based on the average of the last 5 years of net income from that project. So what that does is now the incoming treasurer and the incoming board knows exactly how much money we have for charitable donations before the fiscal year begins. In the past, we've had to wait until the fundraiser and the results. That's typically October, November, so we can't really have a budget when we start the fiscal year. So that's now been resolved, and by doing a 5-year average, it kind of levels that out. I think that's been a big development. We voted on that and passed it in the bylaws earlier this year. Budgeting, we kind of tweaked the budgeting process where it's more of a formalized line item basis, so that kind of makes the job of understanding the financial part of the club easier. And then the other thing we did, which does touch all of you, and you should have noticed it if you've been around a while, as comparing to how it has been done in the past. The first day of each quarter, you should be getting an invoice emailed to you. In the past, it's kind of been haphazard. Sometimes it's the end of the quarter before you get an invoice. But now, the first day of each quarter, you should be getting an emailed invoice. And if you don't, let me know. If you haven't gotten yours yet, let me know. That means I have the wrong email address. But we've kind of been focusing on standardizing, automating, so that the process is smooth. And, other than that, send in your checks.
Thank you, Ross. I tell you, I've been over there to his place several times, and you have no idea behind the scenes. Talk about the little accountant with the eye shade. I mean, he's in his, there's a lot of work goes on with the treasurer. There really is. I mean, between, well, not only our club, but the foundation, and Ross has done a tremendous job of maintaining all that. It's sort of silent work. You know, you don't know that it goes on, but believe me, it really does. Let's see, Ralph, I didn't see Ralph. He's still getting over the Christmas party. Steve, anything on cameraman Steve?
So couple, updates. Obviously, we've got the videos this year, which is new. Large part thanks to Bobby on that, and I just stand behind it. It's not too hard. Huge thanks to Tom for submitting the article. That was actually one of the things that was on my Gold Club requirement list to be able to do. So that actually counts. So thank you for that. And Facebook has still been receiving some good. There's been a lot of likes from outside people. So the more that we can promote that, the better. So if you're out anywhere, especially at a service project or anything, take pictures. Anybody can submit a picture on the Facebook. Just do it, tag it, like it, be active on there. The more activity we have, the more public awareness there is. And actually, we've got potentially a new member coming in that knew that I was a Rotarian, but actually got on our Facebook site, saw some of the things we were doing, and that was a big part of him wanting to come visit our club. And so I think it's definitely beneficial. Other than that, you guys make everything easy. I mean, it's for the most part, it's been a good year. So I don't have anything else at this point.
Thank you, Steve. Let's see, Sarah, I think, is on her way to New York. Cooper is kind of helping Sarah, and I don't know, new generations, I know there's a meeting I think you're going to.
Next Tuesday, I believe it is. Yeah. I mean, over at the Interact Club in Paris.
Yeah, and the purpose of that meeting, there's some money, I think, in the district that has been allotted to give to Interact clubs for a service project. And I think it might be something like $450 that we have budgeted from the district that our Interact club at Page can use for whatever they want for a type of service project. Right. So Cooper's going to go over there next week and assist with that. And as I mentioned a while ago, Sarah's in the midst of getting ready, the applications for the Rotary Youth Leadership Program out at Guilford College is coming up as well. Emily, talk about fundraiser? You got any tickets?
We sold, no, we did a great job. Sold all our tickets. Well, did you want to go to the next?
We can if you're ready. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, you know, as other presidents have talked about, or, you know, really the planning and the work for being a president starts pretty early. It starts, you know, well, really the year before, but certainly, you know, within 6 months of you know, taking office, you're really working hard on, you know, your plans for the coming year, and certainly the board. So, you know, been working on the board. Here's where we are. Did have to, for the district and Rotary International, submit the officers of the club. So you see them up here. You know, I'm president. Dan is president-elect. Chris will be president nominee. You know, very thrilled to have, you know, the treasurer and secretary nailed down. Excited that Michael is going to be taking on the treasurer role. I think she's already started working with Ross in terms of the transition on that. I'm very excited. Cheryl's taking over secretary. I know they are so excited.
Cheryl's super excited.
So I started working with Chris on that. So those are both critical roles in making sure you do have that transition time and the ramp up time. Dennis has agreed to continue on with membership. Has done a fantastic job this year. Thrilled to have him continue. Ralph with club administration. Tony has stepped up with foundation. I know she'll be working with Mike Conrad in that as well. And we expect, Jim Kennedy's done it in the past. He can help mentor. I've done it, so we'll get Tony ramped up with that. Sarah has agreed to continue with New Generations. Tom Richardson, you just heard Steve talk about, what he did with submitting to the newspaper. So, and he's been very active in taking pictures. So excited to have him step up into the public image role. So, I mean, there's still some that I'm working on, talking to people, but this is where we are, and we do have our officers set for the coming year. And I guess it's time, once we get this set, we do have a planning document. We'll start, the actual planning for the next year, but certainly like every president, getting Gold Club will be, kind of the highest priority, and seeing that we maintain the great work and the great standards that we have here at Gate City Rotary. So look forward to working with everyone this coming year on this, and certainly if you have any ideas or suggestions for next year, be sure to let me know. I'd love to hear them.
Do you need a service person? You're still looking for a service person?
I can talk to you afterwards about ideas, but I just haven't had time to talk to everybody.
Some of these are the only ones we had to do were
Right.
the 3 at the top, or the 4 at the top, and so the others are kind of, we really don't have to have it nailed down until, I guess, June. Chris, as a matter of process in our bylaws, do we actually, the board just has to vote on that? I mean, or how did that read?
No, the club that has to, it has to approve the slate of officers.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the slate of officers for the 13-15 year. I hear a second?
A second.
Another second. Any discussion? All in favor of this slate of officers?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right. Good
job, Bobby.
The board members that are here, if you can hang around for, I promise, 1 minute. We got one little matter we want to talk about and we need a little vote on. So any of you board members in the room, hang around for a minute. Any other business? Anything else anybody wants to talk about? Anything anybody wants to ask? Say, Ashley.
Well, I know we're at 71 now, yay. I'm just curious because I know that I've heard some discussion in the past about the size of the room, and we obviously have some attrition over time. But where are we what's our ceiling?
Well, while you were maybe away, I mean, one of the problems was how many tables. There's 8 tables of 8, which is 64, which is this room and the room downstairs is that physical limitation. But O. Henry has remodeled the room downstairs, and it's different now. There's actually more room, more space. They've knocked out walls, plus this room, as you know. So they basically have pretty much assured me we can accommodate up to 80 people. So the physical constraint isn't really on us anymore. So theoretically, we don't really have that cap that we had. So we kind of, I guess it was 80. It seems like kind of a number. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
There's been a lot of energy around it. I mean, you go to some clubs and they got 200 or 300 members and they don't even know each other. So one of the great things about this club is there is some energy with the size. So I mean, there probably is a cap of maybe 80. Otherwise we're not going to be able to stay here at O. Henry. Plus we won't know each other. Buster.
Did we ever hear the results of the fundraiser?
I gave Ross a check this morning. We still have some final things, so I'll check with Ross and see if next week we can announce that. So.
Okay.
Were we in the green?
What?
We were profitable, right?
Yes, we were profitable.
You ready to switch?
See, I got
Another Any other questions? All right, well, tell you what, it's a great group. Thank you for coming. First meeting of the year. It's going to be a great rest of the year, and have a great day. Don't forget the cart fund bucket on your table. And, well, let's see. Do we have, somebody needs to pull this raffle ticket.